Do you worry about your pronunciation when you're speaking English? The good news is you don't need to have a perfect accent. You just need the right pronunciation techniques. Today, I'll share 3 powerful tips that you can use to sound clearer, smoother, and more like a native speaker. Let's get going with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to use connected speech. Connected speech happens when we are speaking naturally and fluently, and instead of pronouncing each individual word, the words blend together. Fluent speakers do this naturally, making their speech sound more smooth. There are 3 ways that this can happen. First, we have linking. This is when sounds join together. Next, we have elision. This is when a sound is dropped, or we don't hear that sound being pronounced. And finally, we have intrusion. This is where an extra sound is added. Now, stay with me. This is not as complicated as it sounds. Let's look at some real examples of connected speech, starting with linking. Linking happens when one word ends in a consonant sound and the next word begins with a vowel sound. Instead of saying the words separately, they join together. For example, fish and chips. Fish and chips. I don't say fish and, I join the sh from fish together with the a from and. They combine together to make one word. Fish and, fish and, fish and chips, fish and chips. The next example, turn it off. The n at the end of turn links together with the I from it. Turn it, turn it. Do you hear how it sounds like one word? It also happens between the t in it and the o in off. So instead of saying turn it off, the words all combine together, almost sounding like one word. Turn it off, turn it off. Another example, I live in a house. We have the final v in the word live, joining with the I from in. I live in, I live in a house. Next, let's look at elision. So this is when a sound is dropped or not pronounced. And this often happens with a t and d sound at the end of words. Often when a word ends in a t or d sound and the next word begins with a consonant sound, the t and d is dropped. For example, the next day, the next day. As you can see, the word next has a t sound at the end. However, when we follow it with a word that begins with a consonant, day, we drop the t sound. The next day, the next day. Another example, I don't know. Don't has a t, but again, we don't pronounce it. I don't know. I don't know. Another one, you and me. We don't say you and me. We drop the d at the end of and. You and me. You and me. And now let's look at intrusion. This is where we add an extra sound, which can be either a r, a w, or a y sound. For example, do it, do it. There is no W in the spelling here, but you can hear a w sound between do and it. Do it, do it. He asked me, he asked me. Between the he and the asked, we insert a y. He asked me, he asked me. And in the last one, I saw a film. Can you hear the r that's inserted between saw and a? I saw a film, I saw a film. These are just some examples of that intruding sound, the extra sound that's added in the boundary between words. Let's practice what we learned. I'm going to say a short phrase. I want you to repeat it and copy my pronunciation, focusing on the features of connected speech. Number 1, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Notice the linking that's happening and the sounds that are dropped. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Number 2, I ate lunch already. I ate lunch already. Let me slow down so you can see what's happening here. I ate lunch already. I ate lunch already. And number 3, Can I have a bit of it? Can I have a bit of it? Can I have a bit of it? Well done, good work. Here's a pro tip for improving connected speech. Listen to native speakers in videos, TV shows, movies, and try to mimic how they speak. Now we're moving on to pronunciation tip number 2, which is paying attention to sentence stress. Stress is when certain words or syllables in words are given more emphasis. We say them more loudly with a higher and clearer pitch. In English, we usually stress the content words. These are nouns, verbs, adjectives, as opposed to the auxiliary words, which might be things like articles or prepositions. For example, in this sentence, which words do I stress? I'm going to the shop. I'm going to the shop. If you said going and shop, you are correct. They are the content words. They carry the most importance in the sentence. I'm going to the shop. I'm going to the shop. How about this one? He didn't like the movie. He didn't like the movie. Hopefully you noticed that I stressed the word didn't and movie because again, they carried the most importance. It was important to stress didn't because we are emphasizing his preference. He didn't like the movie. He didn't like the movie. The words that we stress in the sentence can really change the meaning. Take this sentence, for example. I'm going to say it a few times, and each time I will stress a different word. Think about how the meaning of the sentence changes according to the words I stress. I didn't say she stole the money. 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 Now let's look at how the sentence changed depending on the stress. The first one, I didn't say she stole the money, meaning maybe someone else did. I didn't say she stole the money. We're emphasizing that this is not something we did. Maybe we're being accused of saying something and we want to deny that. I didn't say she stole the money. I didn't say she stole the money. Maybe I wrote it instead. I didn't say. I didn't say she stole the money. Maybe I said someone else did. I didn't say she stole the money. So that suggests she did something else. Maybe she won the money in a competition, or she earned it at work. And finally, I didn't say she stole the money. I said she stole something else, maybe the phone, for example. So you can see that word stress can actually play a really important role in conveying our meaning or our intention. So a top tip on how to get better at stress: pay attention to the words and syllables that native speakers stress when you're watching TV and think about how it conveys their meaning. If you've been enjoying the tips in this video, please take a second to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you can be notified every time I release a new language learning video. Thanks so much, everyone, and now let's end with our final top tip. The final pronunciation tip for sounding more natural and more like a native speaker is to pay attention to the schwa sound. The schwa is the most common sound in English. It's sometimes called a weak sound, and it sounds like this. It's used in the unstressed syllables of words, and it is everywhere. You will find that many vowels in unstressed syllables become the schwa, so for this reason it's important that you are aware of it. So what happens? Well, instead of pronouncing every vowel sound clearly, native speakers reduce it to a weak or a schwa sound. Listen to the following examples. Banana, banana. We have a in the first and the third syllable. Banana. Can you hear it? We stress syllable number 2, so the first and third ones are weak with the Banana. Camera, camera. That final syllable is a schwa, camera. Chocolate, chocolate. We don't say chocolate. That final syllable is unstressed, so it has a weak schwa sound. Chocolate. Different, different. Again, that final syllable is unstressed and it becomes a weak sound. Different. Now, even small words can also become a schwa sound in fast speech. For example, the article a. Instead of saying a book, we'd say a book. It also happens with the article the. This is only before consonants. For example, the dog. We don't say the dog, it's the dog. It can also happen with prepositions, for example, to. I'm going to work. I don't say I'm going to work because I don't stress that sound. So it becomes weak. I'm going to work. I'm going to work. Listen to the following sentences and see if you can hear the schwa sound. I have a camera. I have a camera. She came for dinner. She came for dinner. Give me a banana. Give me a banana. Well done if you were able to identify the schwa sound in those sentences. So my top tip for this is not to pronounce every vowel sound. If the syllable is not being stressed, it's going to be reduced to that weak sound. So be aware of this when you are speaking, and it will really help you to sound more natural. Now, if you're looking for more ways to improve your pronunciation, I recommend that you head on over to this video next, where I demonstrate how to pronounce 100 of the most common and difficult words in English. So I will see you there.